When I refer to an attack, these are what they are. Interrupt. Stagger. Knockdown. Destabilize. Downed. Hello everyone, my name is Joshua and welcome to a review of the 4th of March Megazord balance patch. There are a lot of things I have to say, so let's get right into it. New year, new Megazord balance changes. The overall changes are counterattacks and breakers. All counters now reset EP cooldown when the ability is activated, and all breakers now have a dash branch at the end of the attack. This will improve the pacing of matches, subtly affecting the mobility and EP regeneration of all Zords. This update was long overdue with no balance updates at all ever since the Dragon Zord was released. Down in 2017 didn't come with a patch, so the Megazord was added during a bad time for the Megazord event. I'm glad that they have all fixed all the counters. This now prevents any Megazord from instantly recovering energy after using a disruptor in a combo. Over half the Megazord roster had this, them being Dragon Zord, Mega Black Dragon, Thunder Megazord, Delta Squad Megazord, and the Samurai Megazord. Eesh, that was something. It's over half. I don't know why, but why? Why didn't the block reset then? They're just like Catherine. So I'm quite upset with what they did with the breakers. Removing the recovery time at the end makes every breaker even more powerful. You used to only be able to combo after them, but now dashing can be in place of an attack. This also makes silent strikes even more powerful. Being able to dash after your breakers allows your energy to recover earlier. Meaning by the time your opponent could have started a block or breaker, you could have already had enough energy and would have already started your own breaker once again. Megas still don't have the ability to dash from this update, so now their recovery time is unique. But the update does give breakers an opportunity to dash away from the Mega before it hits them now, even after the attack hits. Well then, starting with the Dino Megazord. His change isn't much, but it's something. Power Sword was great for setting up damage, but couldn't do much damage itself and was so slow that even its range wasn't able to compensate for it. Speeding up the attack helps him use it to counter disrupt it before the opponent can recover from it. The Power Sword, start speed, increased. Not much is changed here, but it is a good change as his other breaker was faster than this attack. With the reduced startup time, keeping your opponent down for longer will be really useful for keeping them from attacking you or using a Mega to hit you. This attack is incredibly safe as you can cancel it at any time already. So this just makes it even more deadlier, even if it doesn't do much damage. Now, moving on to Thunder Megazord. Thunder Megazord could be used either aggressively or defensively, but had little reason to deviate from the simple primary cancelled and saber parry game plan. By upping the costs of his key moves, he won't be able to use them repeatedly in the same way. To offset the increased cost of these moves, Whirlwind had its cost reduced and speed greatly improved to make it more viable overall as an attack. Saber Parry, damage increased by 25%, cost increased from 3 to 4. And Lion Surge, damage increased by 20% and cost increased from 4 to 5. And Whirlwind, the one that got the buff. Cost decreased from 4 to 3, startup speed increased greatly, can act soon after the attack. This change doesn't kill Thunder Megazord as much as it has done to Dragon Zord. With every nerf to energy cost they added damage to it too. Whirlwind just got a whole lot better because its recovery time is a lot shorter. Speed is a lot faster and is cheaper to use. It still can't be used to bait a Samurai focus and then block it, but it does have a short enough recovery time to be used against Mega Black Dragon's block. Though maybe if the Whirlwind part of the attack hits, then I think you would be able to block its own block. By that, you use Whirlwind, and they use parry. Do you have enough, if you only hit the Whirlwind, to parry their parry? Mega Golda has always had fine damage numbers, but his attacks were so slow and easy to counter that he rarely got to show off the damage. The increase to speed on his attacks give him more of a fighting chance against other Zords, and a hit reaction change to his ultimate creates powerful new combos. Ultimate can now hit opponents with a Sword Slash as well, rather than only the projectile. If you're up close, you'll inflict the enemy with a down state. If you're at range, the projectile will only inflict a stagger state as it did before. Savage Strikes. First hit startup speed increased. And third hit changed from stagger to downed. The Giant Backhand. Attack startup speed increased. And Swooping Tackle. Free flight speed increased. Flying travel speed increased. Buffs and even more buffs. Golda got the most love this update thanks to all these status effect changes and speed increases. I'd say Golda still isn't going to be on top in the high leagues. Because he is vulnerable to, well, being interrupted and blocked on 4 out of 6 of his moves. Swooping Tackle isn't vulnerable thanks to his short recovery time, which allows you to block any block. To win with Golda, you'll need to deplete your opponent's energy enough to not be blocked or interrupted, and do a massive combo that he deserved. No way to instantly start a combo like Dragonzord did, so Golda is pretty balanced now. High risk, high luck, high reward. However, low skill players will complain about him. Once they learn how about interrupting attacks, it won't be an issue. Megazord. With each slot dedicated to a clash type, Megazord has a linear gameplay. Attack with strikes until he's countered, back off the encounter when he's attacked. By increasing the cost of Crescent Boomerang, his onslaught of strikes won't last quite as long, and he won't have so much energy left over if he's countered. Crescent Boomerang, cost increased from 3 to 4. First hits damage increased by 100%. And Hammerhead Smash, damage reduced by 10%. The change to his boomerang didn't impact a whole lot, but now when you use it Predator Wave and the attack is in slot 1, it will leave you very vulnerable. Increasing the first hit's damage to do the same amount of damage as the other hits is at least a good change because of the nerf to his Hammerhead, which already did quite low damage. Though when using Efficient Striker, you need a lot of luck on your side. If you get boomerang too many times in a row, your energy is going to be depleted. So to use this Mega now requires a lot of luck just to get enough Hammerhead Smashes to keep your energy high enough to continuously attack the opponent. Also make sure to keep Getter Staff in hand, as the stun can be used to keep the opponent from blocking. Moving on to Mega Black Dragon, someone else who got a lot of increases to, well, even his ultimate. Similar to Golda, Mega Black Dragon's biggest issue was speed. Tail Swipe and Nega Beam were made faster, so using them either aggressively or to counter a breaker should be more reliable. Missile Charge's hit reaction change means you'll cause a long stun if you use it up close, but combo into more damage when used from afar. Ultimate, duration increased by 50%. Tail Swipe, attack startup speed is faster. Missile Charge, first hit change from interrupt to down, gets up from the ground faster during attack recovery. Nega Beam, attack startup speed increased. Pounding Pummel, cost reduced from 4 to 3. 4 attacks and his ultimate all buffed. Not sure if the stun on a missile charge counts as a buff though, being that the only way to destabilize the opponent is if they are at max range. This does not work if they have been hit by Havoc Laser because the opponent leans forwards, making the gap just small enough for a stun instead of a destabilize, which ends the combo right there. It is a good change for a chance to recover energy, but the destabilize kind of really did that. You just needed the recovery shortened, which he got. With the speed increase to both Tail Swipe and Nega Beam, he can now interrupt a lot more attacks, not just Golda's. And with no change to how Pounding Pummel attacks, this is a lot better than nothing. Changing it to 3 really helps balance out the energy he uses from all his 5 energy costing abilities. Also, I tested the ultimate. His duration really feels like it lasts a lot longer. Now moving on to the Samurai Megazord. Samurai Megazord had the best counter attack in Megazord Battle Mode, but little else. Most of his other attacks received various improvements to give players reason to do more than just turtle and wait for an opportunity to counter. To compensate for the improvements to his other attacks, Samurai Focus had its damage reduced. Shield Bash, free run speed increased, running travel speed increased, bash speed increased. Blade Storm, damage redistributed, so half the damage is on the first hit. New distribution is as follows: 50%, 10%, 10%, 10%, 20%. Change from the original distribution: 9, 19, 19, 19, 34%. Attack speed between second hit and third hit is faster. Ape Assault. Second hit change from interrupt to stagger. Samurai Focus. Damage reduced by 20%. Fixed damage display issue on stats screen. Samurai Strike. Start speed increased. This patch didn't really help Samurai. Mirror matches are still who can turtle the best. But any way to fix this would be to change the recovery time on Shield Bash to allow you to use Samurai Focus directly after it. But that isn't the only issue. Shield Bash still misses the opponent when they dodge back at the correct time. But looking at it, if they do change the recovery time at the end to barely any, just like Megazord's Hammerhead Smash, your opponent would have to make a choice. Block and be blocked, or avoid, and you would have most likely rotated to Samurai Strike. With the damage change of how Blade Storm works, it might be a good idea to use it after the Shield Bash or Samurai Strike just to rotate it and get the whole attack's damage worth with just one strike. That can also crit and do even more damage. Even if your opponent blocks it, you will have done more damage than them by then. Apesol's second stagger seems to prevent any sort of interruption now, so if you know they don't have a block and they aren't in the corner, then it is a good time to use it. A 20% damage decrease isn't much of a change to Samurai Focus. It still has a ton of damage when hitting an attack and when not hitting an attack. And the speed increase of Samurai Strike is also nice. Now you can land it more often without the opponent managing to interrupt you before it even finishes its startup. But it looks like we're moving on to the last row. The Delta Squad Megazord. Delta Squad Megazord is effective at a distance. So the new stagger hit reaction on Delta Dive will complement that by creating just a little bit more space. He could also feel clunky to use, so he received earlier branch windows on Delta Strike and Crime Scene Tape. That go a long way towards him feeling more responsive and fun to use. Delta Strike can act sooner after the attack. Crime Scene Tape can act sooner after the attack. Delta Dive, first hit change from interrupt to stagger. No nerfs, instead just buffs. By just allowing the ability to dash after breakers and shortening the recovery time on both Delta Strike and Crime Scene Tape, this Megazord is a lot faster. Plus, it looks like Delta Dive will now create more distance thanks to the stagger, meaning you need to block to get closer if you think about trying to hit them with an attack. Now, on to, well, the one that caused a lot of problems last patch, but might not cause any problems this event. Megazord. With a relentless attack speed and more downed and destabilized attacks than any other Zord, Megazord was very difficult to fight against. Dragon Frenzy and Tail Stinger were both strikes that were fast enough to interrupt other strikes, but were too fast to be interrupted. To give only one of these attributes to each strike, Dragon Frenzy was kept fast at the start but made slow at the end. Then Tail Stinger was made slow at the start but kept fast at the end, to mitigate Megazord's ability to keep other Zords stunned for longer periods of time. Missile Storm and Fin Slash had their hit reactions changed to let opponents get back into the fight sooner. Fin Slash changed from down to stagger, and cost decreased from 5 to 4. Dragon Frenzy, attack speed between second and third hit made slower. Tail Stinger, cost increased from 3 to 4. First hit slowed down. Damage decreased by 15%. Missile Storm, fifth hit changed from destabilize to knockdown. Anyway, you hit this Zord way too hard. No other stun than the ultimate. Tail Stinger getting a damage reduction, speed reduction, and increased energy cost. Dragon Frenzy being slow on the second and third hit is what we needed though. This allows other Megazords to interrupt the attack. Changing Fin Slash to do the same thing as Core Stump but the cost reduction kind of wasn't that great for the Zord, because the move was the main thing to start combos. And with Missile just being a distance creator, that makes the attack just similar to attacks like Predator Wave, Mega Beam, Dragon's Roar, and Lightning Blast. Only two moves were left untouched, those being Front Kick and Claw Stump. On to the final Zord, the Dino Megazord 2017. Dino Megazord 2017 has always had a few cool tricks, but relied too heavily on his ultimate to get big damage, and was very easily counterattacked. He's getting big improvements on the third slot for his update, with Tyrannosaurus now being guaranteed after initial hits, and Dino Drop made much faster. Dino Drop saw an increase in cost to keep the third slot from getting too spammable, but most of the same combos involving the attack still work. Triceratops Strike is not a counterattack, so it no longer resets EP cooldown to keep the EP cooldown rules consistent across the Megazord battle mode. Dino Drop. Cost increased from 5 to 6 EP. speed increased. Hitbox deactivates sooner. Triceratops Strike no longer resets EP cooldown. Tyranno Assault, second hit change from stagger to destabilize. Another Zord with only buffs. Yes, Dino drop costs 6 now, but the startup is faster. Glad they finally fixed the energy reset for Triceratops Strike, because that shouldn't have been a thing in the first place. I also liked what they did with Tyranno Assault, because now you have a choice when you aren't doing anything. Either block the first hit, or take full damage from the attack. Though, being that the first hit isn't unavoidable, you could still get enough energy to use a breaker, or block by the time it throws the first sword. And with that, we conclude with the review over this patch. With every Megazord getting a nerf or buff or both at the same time, I will say that some of the things Enway tried to do didn't work, while some changes did do what Enway wanted. Like I said at the beginning, I'm glad all the counters reset energy now, but I'm not happy about the change to the breakers. It is great they weakened Dragonzord, but I actually think they might have hit him a bit too hard. They turned him into a pre-patch Golda when it comes to status effects. While Golda is going to dominate the low skill battles, thanks to most people not knowing how to interrupt strikes, other than those, I'll have a rating of who I think is the strongest or weakest Megazord soon. So if you guys did enjoy the 4th of March balanced patch review, please make sure to give this video a like, comment what you would like to see, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to not miss anything. And join my Discord, it's in the description, and I'll see you all in the next Power Rangers video. Goodbye!